ball.
I'm going to hold it up to you as well, just in case you can't see it.
Hello! Well, I was just thinking of doing something new on the channel. I love tea and I did tea on her channel, so I'm going to taste more tea with the lovely Claudia.
Hello.
Okay, so the tea that we are tasting today is called the Milky Oolong from Müller's Teestube.
Teestube.
Stube. There we are.
You know what a stube is?
Well, tell
It's
us.
a small room, it's a chamber.
They do selection of teas, don't they?
Yeah, it's quite a large selection of teas. Müller is a drugstore, I guess you'd say, but you can buy pretty much everything there. And it has got its own range of teas, both like black and herbal teas and all sorts.
Oh, fantastic. So today we have tasting their Milky Oolong, which is, by the way, very, very aromatic.
It smells good, but it does smell really aromatisiert.
It's been fragranced.
Yeah, and
if
you can smell that it's not a natural smell from the tea itself.
Yes. So basically, Milky Oolong is, when we talk about it, what comes to mind for me is the Jinshen kind of oolong. It's green and it's normally rolled up into a very tight ball. So this is very interesting because it's dark and it's not rolled up in a ball. It's kind of loose. So
Can
it
I
looks
pick
like
up
it's
one of
a
the
dark.
leaves?
Yeah.
Just see.
So this reminds me of the more darker kind of oolongs, like we get like the Da Hong Pao and stuff like that. So now we are actually going to taste it, which I'm quite excited to do. But first you had to boil the water. So the water is boiling. It's doing its thing. See, it's quite...
It's erupting.
It does this, I told you. There we are. Okay, so the water is now all boiled and now we can actually make the tea. So I'm gonna... Well, Claudia says I have a very interesting setup, as you can see here. So what I have here is my Gai Wan, which means lidded cup in Chinese. So it comprises of 3 parts. So we have the base, we have the cup itself, and the lid. We'll be brewing our tea in here. This is my filter, and this is my helping hand.
Did they actually come together?
Yes. It's great, isn't it? This is my jug that I bought in a charity shop.
What does it say on it?
Sang Malo. It's in Brittany. I hope you can. Sang Malo. And with this I have what I call my kiap, which is a...
Tongs.
Yeah, it's a tweezer's tongs.
What's
yeah.
that for?
That is to hold on to things.
I meant tea specific.
That's a very good question. I do use it. I just cannot.
Don't know how.
So normally, if I use even smaller cups, well, the cups we are using is like these, so they're not that small. But if I use smaller cups, I would use these to handle the cups because they can get quite hot. And this is my teaspoon. It's actually for making matcha, but I've found that it's actually quite handy on making all sorts of tea. So that it goes quite well if you're making matcha.
Is that made from bamboo?
It is bamboo. It's a single piece of bamboo. This is also made of bamboo. Yeah. Right? I have my little sharing jug, as we call it here. So it's basically a milk jug, but because...
So you brew the tea in the lidded cup?
I brewed the tea in this.
And then at which point does it get filtered?
Oh, like that.
When it goes in the jug, okay.
Yeah. So, first of all, we need to warm up our utensils. Right, so I'm just warming up our utensils, you see. So this is a box for retaining liquids because spillage is a thing when you're doing tea my way. So this is to reduce that spillage. Right. Yeah, and the cups we are using today is this one. I'm not sure what it's made of, but it's my favorite cup to use. And we're also using an espresso cup.
Very authentic.
Yes, I got this for 25p in Relics. It's actually it's made by a Turkish brand called Ikram. No, it's a German brand called Ikram. Sorry. Right, so now we're going to put the tea in the Gaiwan.
pour it in.
Yep. You know, we don't want to use scalding hot water, but this is great because we've been waiting.
Yeah.
So we can pour it in right now. There we go.
So what method is this? You said Chinese.
Yes, it's from China. The method itself is called Kung Fu, which is the same as the martial arts, I guess.
And is the tea Chinese as well?
Well, I don't think this is.
It says made in Germany, which is not useful.
Well, I don't think it's grown in Germany.
Well, exactly, that's what I'm trying to
It's
say.
probably perfumed in Germany, I guess.
Yeah, but it doesn't say where it's grown anyway.
This is how I normally drink my tea if I'm drinking fancy tea.
I'm really looking forward to this. So you've not tried this tea yet?
Nope.
I have, because it's mine.
Nice.
But obviously I've not made it this way.
Okay. I'm very curious now.
Okay.
Oh. It's very, very
It's very sweet smelling.
aromatic. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
It actually smells like a rooibos tea, you know what I mean?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. Yeah.
I would say the aroma is definitely vanilla.
It is. It is
Yeah.
more vanilla than milk, if you ask me.
Ooh.
It's quite naturally sweet, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mm.
Like I wouldn't have sugar with this.
No, this is fine by itself, I think. And
It's very smooth actually, because you barely left it in there.
yes, that's the idea.
It's got a strong flavour, but it's got no bitterness at all.
No, and this is not the instructions as said on the packet either. I just realized.
Right, shall we? Maybe we should look first. On the packet it says 1 teaspoon per cup, or 2 to 3 heaped teaspoons for a teapot.
Mm-hmm.
Then pour over with hot but no longer boiling water,
Yeah.
and leave for 2 to 3 minutes.
So we did the hot but no longer boiling water. So I guess
And then it suggests to sweeten with vanilla syrup or vanilla sugar.
it's interesting because it
It's
feels like
already
it's
vanilla-y
already.
enough. I would
it's-
not put any extra vanilla in there.
Yes. So that's our first one. Oh, by the way, I have this thing where I like to throw away the first brew.
But
if
why
it's
didn't you
from
do it now?
Maybe because I've forgotten to do it.
So the packet suggests to have the water at 80 degrees. I think this is hotter than 80.
This is hotter than 80 years. But hey,
Well, I'm actually getting a bit of bitterness there at the end.
there's a lot of tannins in the tea. The
Yeah.
thing that makes your
Like
mouth
rough,
pucker
yeah.
up. Yeah. So I wonder if the second brew, well, if it's
Okay.
yeah.
Smells maybe a bit more of tea and a bit less of vanilla. What do you think?
The oolong is coming out now. If you've
Less of the aroma. Like,
yes, yeah. If you've taken like dark oolongs, like I said, da hong pao, you will know that there is a very certain smell associated with them, and that smell is coming out. So I suspect that the tea itself is grown in China.
Yeah, although this one does not have the denomination of origin. I think the Darjeeling bag did.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't like the second brew as much, I have to say.
For me, I think it's interesting because I'm getting a lot more tea, and I drink
Yeah.
tea because it tastes like tea.
Yeah. You know how I drink my tea.
Well, it's not less than tea, I would argue.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's very kind.
no, because sometimes if you sweeten tea, it brings out the taste of the tea. I would say.
But this is just a little bit too bitter for me.
Right. Okay.
What do you think? Do you prefer that to the first?
I prefer this. I really like my tea strong, like George Orwell. Check out Claudia's video, by the
Link
way.
in the description
Link in the
box.
description box below.
It does taste different than the tea we tasted. The Darjeeling. It tastes different to the tea I have in like my tea jar, you know.
Yeah.
Morrison's brand tea bags. By the way, after we did the video, right, I totally did have a second brew with those tea leaves, and that was really nice.
Yeah, I thought so.
Like,
That's
if
for
you
sure.
had sort of the first and the second brew, like, next to each other, you wouldn't think they were the same tea.
Yeah.
And also the water's cooling down now, so every brew's going to be slightly different temperature as well.
Yeah.
All right, bring it on.
Bring it on.
It's still fairly dark, maybe a little bit lighter.
It is
bit
getting
more
lighter.
orange
Yeah.
in colour. Ooh, it smells different again.
It smells different. Yes, tea actually matures for every brew you make.
I like the smell of this more than the first and the second. Just the smell of it.
That's interesting because this is what we will call the second brew because the first brew is normally thrown away.
Yeah.
And the second brew is normally the most intense. It kind of peaks here.
Yeah. Although taste-wise, I don't know if it's just me getting used to the taste, but it doesn't taste as bitter as the
it's
the
probably
actual
mellowed out
second
a
brew,
little.
like,
yeah.
You know what you could do with your first brew if you do throw it away?
Yeah.
Convince your hair with it. It's really good for hair tea.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Although I wouldn't do it on blonde hair because it does stain the hair, but on our colour's fine.
Yeah. Would you do it with a specific kind of tea or
just anything with tannins?
Okay.
So like black teas because the astringent quality of tannins smooths out your hair.
Oh, didn't know that.
Yeah. That's why
a jar of
that's
tea.
why hippies like me use things like citric acid rinses and lemon juice rinses, things like that. And tea works similar.
Oh, that's interesting.
Also makes your hair smell nice. But the thing is, if you're gonna bin the first thing anyway, right? You just put it in like a bottle with, and then top it up with water and just rinse your hair with it. Pro tip.
Yay! We're learning so much today. So yeah, so this is how normally.
Okay, it's expanded even more.
Yes. Again, that is to be expected. At one point,
I didn't really talk about the flavour of this much, so.
Oh yeah.
I like it.
Well, it is a bit more subdued compared to the first one, but I feel like the smell has evolved.
The smell's definitely the nicest. Like,
it's quite floral, isn't it?
I keep sniffing this now, and it's really good. You ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you do it?
I want to pour this on. I want to do
Okay.
it. I want to do it. I want to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, did I overfill it?
Yes, but that's fine.
Okay, this is really light.
Yeah,
compared to the
first few ones.
Okay, thank you.
So it is this kind of darkish color still, but it is lighter than the first few ones.
I can smell the vanilla again.
Yes, it has evolved again.
Yeah, this is actually, in taste, I find it very similar to the last.
Yeah, and now I feel like there's a bit of a disjunct with the aroma and the taste.
Yeah.
Because
they
are no longer the same thing.
Yeah.
You're tasting a lot of the tea and not so much the aroma of the vanilla.
Yeah. Well, how do they infuse the teas? I'm guessing it's just an oil, right?
I believe that's how they do it, yes.
So I'm not surprised that leaves the tea very quickly after the first brew.
Yeah, so what we are having now is just full-on oolong of some sort.
Yeah.
From somewhere.
Yeah, like this tea now I'm thinking could do with a splash of milk.
You can put milk in your oolong, that's very interesting.
I never have, but I could
okay.
imagine it.
Okay. Shall we go for the next round? Good to the last drop, I guess.
See, the only tea I had today was some iced tea. Because it's really hot. It's definitely not tea drinking.
Well, that's interesting, isn't it? Because I drink tea because it's a hot day outside.
It's fresh.
It's
like
fresh,
the taste is kind of fresh and
light.
herby and like
Yeah.
I get that, but iced tea is really nice.
So what we're having here is something that's it's quite light now because I can see the bottom of my cup as well. So
yes,
definitely it's becoming spent as
it's
we're
also
going.
getting more green in color.
How does it look like yours?
Because obviously you've got a green cup, but it's getting less warm, like
it
less
is,
orange.
Yeah, you can. Like I can tell that the tea is getting spent. It's good for a few more brews.
Yeah, it's getting weaker, milder. Still quite strong though. Like
really? Okay.
well, you can still taste it. You know,
Yeah,
like if you
that's
said
true.
to someone, "Oh, we've brewed this up. What is it now? 6 times? 5 times?"
I've lost
I
count.
think it's the 5th.
Yeah, we'll probably put
You wouldn't think there's any flavour left in the tea, but there is.
Yeah. Oh well, so I guess that's our tea session. You know what? Why don't you have like a little thing? You can put in the comments below what you think this tea
Series?
series should be, and we'll hear.
It's not
from
going to be
each other.
called My Tea Tasting.
No, it's I don't know. We'll see, and I'll pick the best one. Guess we're ending here.